Hi, welcome to my presentation for Transportation Assessment 2. My name is Benton Hoffman. Today I'll be presenting my geometric and pavement design project for the upgrade of the Furlands Minor Road in the Helderberg rural area of Gordons Bay, which is located in the Western Cape. This is completed as part of my transportation module at UNISA, and I will be doing this in accordance with the South African road design standards. The Furlands Minor Road is a gravel road that's in the Helderberg rural area of Gordons Bay, and this road is maintained by the City of Cape Town, and it branches directly off the N2, which is a national road, as a critical access route. It goes through mountainous terrain on the lower slopes of the Hottentots Highland Mountains, which is close to False Bay. This is through a mix of agricultural smallholdings and some properties that is used for horses, as well as newer residential and commercial development. This newer development includes the large-scale Green Bay Eco Estate, which is currently under active construction. This growth means that traffic volumes on Furlands Minor Road are projected to increase substantially over the coming years. So my design corridor covers approximately 4.633 kilometers, which falls within the required design specification. I conducted on-site visits to Furlands Minor Road to assess its current condition, and I identified a number of critical deficiencies that motivate this upgrade. Firstly, the road has no formal pavement layer works. It exists as a natural gravel surface with no engineered base, subbase or selected subgrade, and this means that it has no structural capacity to carry current or projected traffic sustainably. Secondly, the geometric alignment is inadequate. There are no formally designed horizontal or vertical curves, so this road width is inconsistent, and certain sections have permanent obstacles and bottlenecks with no warning signs. This creates a real safety risk. Third, there is no formal stormwater drainage infrastructure, so given the high rainfall in the area, uncontrolled runoff crosses the road surface and causes erosion and damage after a significant rainfall event. Finally, there are no road markings, signs, or formal shoulders. This leaves the road user without guidance, particularly at night or in poor weather. So in short, Furlands Minor Road cannot safely or sustainably serve current traffic, let alone the growth expected from the area's development, which is why this upgrade is clearly justified. My aim was to produce a comprehensive geometric and pavement design to upgrade Furlands Minor Road from a gravel road to a standard surfaced road, and this is done in accordance with South African Design Standards TRH 17, which is used for geometric design of rural roads, and TRH 4 for the structural design of flexible pavements, as well as TRH 26 for traffic data, and the SANRAL geometric design and drainage manuals. So before starting with the design itself, I collected key input data, traffic data to establish current and projected demand, and the climatic and environmental conditions of the area. A Mediterranean climate with mean annual rainfall of 725 millimeters, concentrated in the winter months, which has a direct bearing on both pavement moisture sensitivity and drainage design. The scope of work covers the full horizontal and vertical and cross-sectional design of the 4.63 kilometer corridor in AutoCAD Civil 3D. Manual and Excel-based horizontal curve calculations, pavement structured alternatives from the TRH4 catalog, the earthworks and massal quantities from Civil 3D. A conceptual stormwater drainage design, and a full set of design drawings. With the design base established, I'll start with the traffic analysis. So the current annual average daily traffic on Furlands Minor Road is 3,097 vehicles per day. Light single-axle vehicles make up the majority at approximately 88.7%, or 2,748 vehicles per day. Two-axle trucks contribute 227 vehicles, which is around 7.3%, and three-axle trucks contribute 39 vehicles, about 1.3%. This traffic is generated primarily by the Green Bay residential estate and its construction activity. The agricultural smallholdings along the corridor, the Furlands service station, and the surrounding rural residential properties. So turning now from the traffic to the ground itself, I assessed the subgrade CBR at 100-meter intervals along the full design corridor. This is using the mean minus 1.282 standard deviations to determine the design CBR at the lower 10th percentile. So this identified 8 uniform subgrade areas. Subgrade areas 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8, covering most of the corridor, classify as SG1, with design CBR values above 15%, which reflects the good quality residual soils and alluvial gravels in these zones. Areas 4 and 6 classify as SG2 at 8.85% and 10.19%, respectively, requiring moderate pavement thickness. So the critical zone is subgrade area 5, which covers chainage 2,100 to 3,100, which classifies as SG3 with a design CBR of only 4.87%. This corresponds to shale geology, which produces clay-rich, moisture-sensitive soils with poor bearing capacity when saturated. This SG3 subgrade governs the pavement thickness design for the full corridor, and I've recommended lime stabilization in the zone. With both the traffic and subgrade now defined, the pavement structure was designed using the TRH4 design catalog, governed by the ES10 pavement class and SG3 subgrade CBR of 4.87%. I generated all the feasible pavement structure alternatives from this catalog SG3 combination and selected a structure consisting of an asphalt, concrete or double seal servicing layer, a 150 mm G1 crushed stone base, and a 150 mm G3 or G4 subbase, and a 150 mm G7 selected subgrade layer over the SG3 zones. I selected this alternative based on structural adequacy of the ES10 traffic loading, the availability of G1 crushed stone from Western Cape quarries, constructability given the site access conditions, and whole life cost. With the engineering inputs in place, I'd like to walk through the key steps I followed in AutoCAD Civil 3D to produce the geometric design. So I started by importing the raw survey data, the elevation and coordinate points collected for the project area, and used these points to build a 3D surface model of the existing terrain. Switching from a full point display to a clean contour representation once the surface was created, so that the model was easier to work with. On top of the surface, I created the center line alignment for the proposed road, which automatically generated stake values and a curve radii along the full corridor. I then checked every curve radius against the TRH17 minimum radius requirement for my design speed of 60 km per hour and adjusted any curve that fell short, so the finish alignment fully complies with TRH17. With the horizontal alignment finalized, I added it to the surface model to extract a ground profile. Then set up a profile view spanning the full 4.63 kilometer corridor, defining the vertical exaggeration and elevation range for a clear read of the terrain. Within this profile, I designed the vertical alignment, the grades and vertical curves for the road, and Civil 3D generated a grid of every K value and curve length for review. I checked each of these K values against the TRH17 requirements for crest and sag curves at my design speed, confirming that adequate stopping sight distance is provided along the entire corridor. The final modeling step was building the design corridor, a 3D model that combines the horizontal alignment, the vertical profile, and a typical cross-section of 7.4 meter carriageway with 1.5 meter shoulders, which Civil 3D uses to generate a cut and fill along the road. I set up sample lines at 120 meter intervals as specified in the project brief, and generated a cross-section views at each of these stations for the full corridor. Finally, I configured the quantity takeoff parameters and ran the volume calculations against the full finished corridor, producing the cut and fill quantities that feed into the earthworks and mass haul analysis. So moving from the geometric model to hydrology, a conceptual stormwater drainage design was developed for the 4.63 kilometer corridor in line with SANRAL Drainage Manual 6th edition. With 725 millimeters of annual rainfall concentrated in the winter months and mountainous terrain generating significant catchment runoff, adequate drainage infrastructure is critical to the road's long-term performance. The design includes cross-drainage culverts at every natural drainage crossing, with drainage locations shown on the design drawings. Side drains on the full corridor to convey roadway runoff to the culvert inlets and outfalls. Catchwater drains on the uphill side of cut sections to intercept the hillside runoff before it reaches the carriageway, and subsurface drainage at the cut-fill interface to prevent subgrade saturation. All of this design work is captured in a full set of drawings produced in Civil 3D. This includes the plan view of the corridor, showing the horizontal alignment, curve data, and drainage layout. The long section showing existing and proposed ground levels, gradients, and vertical curve data. Cross sections at 120 meter intervals showing cut and fill areas and pavement layers. This project has delivered a comprehensive geometric and pavement design for the upgrade of Furlands Minor Road, from its current gravel condition to a standard surfaced road. The 4.63 kilometer design corridor meets the project specification requirement of 4 to 5 kilometers. The design traffic was calculated as 7.9 times 10 to the power of 6 E80s over a 20-year design life, placing the road in TRH4 pavement class ES10, which is governed by an SG3 subgrade CBR of 4.87%. The road has been designed to TRH17 geometric design standards at a design speed of 60 km per hour, with a 7.4 meter carriageway and a 1.5 meter shoulders. This upgrade directly addresses every deficiency I identified: the inadequate surface, the poor alignment, the absence of drainage, and the lack of safety measures, reducing vehicle operating costs, improving road safety, and supporting the continued responsible growth of the Helderberg rural community.